Slumming it on 3G.
Yeah, I need to get a 4G phone.
Canopy still exists, it's still
Yeah, it still
current.
exists.
Yeah, so I've got some of the new stuff as well, like the Vimo. And that's not bad, but you're paying for a subscriber model, you're still paying like $700. An AP is still $2,500. It's crap. Bring an 850 about 850 X2 right?
What do you don't? What don't you hit when you pull that?
I remember the first time I came to your place, it was just
Yeah, it's still like Alex boards and shit. Yeah.
Let's try that.
get rid of my shit. Over it.
Yeah?
Anymore.
Sorry, we're just setting up an internet stream for all those people that never come to these meetings. I don't know why we bother.
We're the only ones that watch it, right? We're all here.
Yeah.
Nah, there's one or two, but
No, I was one of them, and I'm here.
that's true. So we don't need it.
Exactly. I'm already here. I used to watch it.
Do?
Yes. Well, there's the other one. There's
You must be
third
the other
option.
one. Okay. So anyway, just for those of you that haven't been here before, just some house rules and stuff. Try not to leave any rubbish in if you have brought food or whatever. There's bins outside if you would not mind using those. There's a toilet just outside this door. Take the first right, and it's just behind this other side of this wall here. If you need to use that. And what else is important? They're the main two things that I have to deal with. So yeah, thanks for that. Are we good? All right. Welcome. So it's February 2015. Welcome along to the Airstream members meeting. Tonight we have a special presentation from our esteemed member Michael Kello, who's in town again after, I think you've been out to a couple of builds, haven't you, since you've been here? And just maintenance stuff, so he's going to tell us about that. How are you? A few new people, I think, maybe not, that haven't been before, a few old that had been before from many years ago, so should be an interesting night. There isn't, I've got a bit of official business. I'll just go over the notes from our committee meeting, just fill you all in on what's been happening with regards to the accounts. I'll get Sam to give me an update with the purchasing, any projects that we've got on the current schedule, and any other news. There is an Aslan team happening at the moment, so I have a feeling we'll be hearing more from them very soon about when the next Aslan's happening. Rumours for March, I think.
14th, I think.
Somewhere around the 14th, so that'll be good. And we haven't had an Aslan for a couple of months now, so as you know, that's a good fundraiser for the club, and I think they're really looking at ramping that up again this year. So what else is new?
Pretty sure
Let me
they've
just
got 6 solar lands penciled in at the moment.
6 lands for the year.
Yep.
That's good. We have other fundraising news. Oh, of course, last month we had the members meeting, and then following that, on that weekend, we did a barbecue fundraiser at Officeworks. I mean, that was pretty successful actually, being that it was the start of the school season as well. I'll get our fundraising officer Tony to give us an update on that in a bit as well. And what else has happened? There's a few new projects sort of coming along. We've had contact from various people in the community that are looking to do things. I might let Justo fill you in on that from the network team angles. He's had a meeting with a few people regarding some new projects that are potential. And in other news, the network team itself, I don't think has been announced yet, has it? Or did you do? No, but you can tell us more about that. So I believe the network team has somewhat been formed after the nomination process was gone through last month, and thanks to everyone who's volunteered for that, of course. So let's just go over. Let's just start with the boring stuff. And Sam, have you got any news for me, or just everyone in general, rather, on this month's purchasing for projects?
I'm looking
tell you, we do have, although these numbers might be a bit out of date now since last week, but approximately 2,588 in restricted cash and unrestricted cash 3,220, which is basically what's available to be allocated to the projects as we see fit. So that's quite good, and a lot of that is due to the fundraising efforts of the last few months, which is really good. Perhaps on that vein, Tony, you want to give us a quick update on how the office works went? I could tell you, but no one wants to hear from me all night. Come on down to the famous spot at the front.
There's actually a spot too.
Could be the very spot you stand on.
It's the very
Best
spot.
angle. And thanks, of course, to our camera operators again for doing a great job tonight. Getting the stream online. I think we had a stream last month. So.
I stand as spotty.
Right on the spot.
Yeah, we had a quite a successful barbecue at Officeworks. It was much better than we expected because Officeworks is generally, just a minor. It's usually not that busy. However, we picked the right time. They had a back to school sale, and the manager said that was the most exceptional day they've ever experienced. And takings was about $540 I think on the day, $540 something 70 cents or something, and which was on par pretty well with the previous barbecue we had at Bunnings. So we had, unfortunately, probably the timing. We had to do it quickly because we wanted to get it in its time, but unfortunately a lot of people weren't aware of it, so we end up being a small team of about 4 people, wasn't it? 4 people. So we were going flat out pretty well all day. But at the end of the day, I think it was well worth it. And also in the future, I have got one barbecue booked for June at the Mitre 10 store at where was it again, on Dunburn Road. Which is usually not too bad, although it'll be winter, or coming into winter. And we have also rebooked another barbecue at Bunnings, so there's probably a few more which we'll try and give everyone plenty of notice for, so we can all do our bit, because it's also a good day for bonding. People get together, the members come out, and it's not just all about barbecues either, or fundraising I should say. So it looks pretty good, and it's put a bit of money into our coffers for any future projects as well. So and I think that's...
Yeah, fantastic, and well done to everyone that come down. I know Dids and Nat aren't here, but they had a sleepless night, I think, that night, and
It's here somewhere.
we do appreciate. Did he? Oh, there he is. So thank you to you guys as well for coming down and helping with the queue. So what else we got? Just quickly. Of course, if you guys have got any ideas for fundraising, barbecues are just something we're doing at the moment because it's fairly easy, and obviously once you've got a bit of barbecue equipment in hand, you can easily go and do more of them. So any other ideas for that, and that includes any affiliate radio clubs or things like that that might be doing or have an opportunity to do something like that, do let us know. It doesn't have to be a barbecue either. We could do anything. So we don't want to have to rely 100% on Aslan or these barbecues at any given time. It's always good to come up with different ideas for fundraising. And on that note, sorry, did you find out what I was looking for before there, Sam? Just just recent stuff. There was a cement hill, wasn't there? Something?
No, just the
Bush.
Nano station behind us over here.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Stuff, and I think they nearly tell him ask for show up.
Yeah, Shido. So we'll get an update from that. I'm not sure which one of you guys wants to do that.
I'll do that, that's fine.
Justo, would you mind taking the floor for a while and letting us know what's happening in your world? Oh god, he's in configuration mode. So tonight's presentation there, Necron, what did you have for us?
I am going to do a pretty informal presentation on everything masting. So the plan is for this one, I've got a few little points I want to talk about, but I was sort of hoping more for a Q&A and a discussion more than anything on the floor about everything to do with building a mast, tower, pole, anything related to holding Wi-Fi's.
So who's put up a mast recently or ever? Only 3 people, so this should be pretty 4 or 5. Okay. And who's looking to do it in the near future, perhaps? Yeah, you're having a laugh. I know.
You've never put one up before.
Alright, so we've got
He's always planning on putting one up.
Yeah, that's right. No, it's valuable information anyway, of course. So thanks for coming out to share that with us.
Accuracy is not guaranteed.
Yeah, well, let's just say it's your opinions on the matter, shall we?
Yeah.
How would you feel about doing that right now for us? We do. We got a door prize tonight
Just
as
not
well.
far off.
Oh, what's that?
Being able to talk.
The door.
It's a very secretive door
Network
prize.
update, like what's happening with
Let me see. I've got 5 cents.
all those fun things that are happening.
Pretty sure it's a camera pen.
All those fun potential things.
HD camera pen. No, it's a good one. You ready to go? Cool, man.
I'm not going back there.
Okay, well I'll leave you with Justin from the network team.
Keep up.
Who would like
Sure
we can
can.
Just show who's on the network team. So finally got my gear together and finally got a network team together this year. I have sent out emails to the network team, but not to the people who's. I had a lot of nominations, which was great. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot, which is great to see. Just scroll down right there. Isn't it?
That'll do.
Yep. No problem. So here's our network team for this year. There's 10 of us. 10, yep, 10, including myself. So we've got myself, obviously. Sam Osborne's at TGF. I don't think he's here. He was very keen to get involved last year, and he was, and hopefully this year too. Seems pretty good. Joseph, he's a committee member. He's actually just helping me with the network team stuff as a committee role. So he's on there with us. Steve Fraser, who's new. Well, not new, but new on the team. Seems very, very keen when he sent me his email, and very, very, very keen since. So glad to have him on the team this year. Tom Need, said B grade. Obviously, anything. B grade, for those of you who know him, lives up at Redwood Park. Done a lot for us. Very, very keen this year to get back involved in the team. He was on last year, but had to leave partway. But this year he's having a look at to get back with us. Chris, Dr. G-Force over here. Always very helpful. Got a lot of knowledge about wireless gear. I'm glad to have him this year. Joseph East. Yep, there he is. Very good engineering mind, from what I'm hearing. Haven't much relation with him, but glad to have him as well. He's been on the team previous years as well. Necron, everyone knows Necron. About to talk our ear
Hi
off.
everybody.
Hey, Dr. Necron.
Necron's really good with, he's got a lot of good stuff, not knowledge in his head, but he's very good with documentation and stuff as well, so glad to have him. Daryl, or Daz, same deal, very excited to get some more services on the network this year rather than just building sites. Services from a network point, which is probably a good thing, and really glad that he's there to push that for us. And then Adam Hackett, who's Hackman, our first South admin, I believe. Yes, is that right? Yeah.
Southernmost. Yeah.
Southernmost admin, which is great because I need someone down there to look after that stuff when it goes down. Especially when I can't get to it because Smith Hill's gone down. No problem. So that's us.
Especially because you live on the other side of the city.
Yeah. It takes me 40 minutes to drive to Smith Hill. And that's the closest one.
So just quickly, Justo, for everyone that doesn't know already, perhaps you can just give us a quick overview of what the network team is there for and how it operates.
So basically what we're there for is we look after the committee-owned nodes, or the core nodes as we call them, as well as some other managed nodes that we look after for our peering groups and stuff. What we do,
Yeah,
so
so
basically,
So
Sorry,
the
but I'll
committee,
just
rather than making all the decisions on their own,
yeah,
the committee tasks the management of and the maintenance of the core network,
that
which
is
is
updated.
everything that's funded by the club. So when you hear us talk about fundraising and barbecues, that's why we're doing them, so that we can build more of these nodes that are wholly owned by the club and its members. And that means the members can decide on what happens to these nodes, they can decide where they're built and what's more important than something else.
And that they're not at private residencies.
Most of the time they're not on a
Yeah,
private
most of the time,
residence,
yeah.
they're usually somewhere that is public or shared space. And so when it comes down to maintaining all of that, these are the guys that are going to be responsible. And it is something, there is a degree of responsibility there, so we do go through a process of selection to kind of pick the people that we think are appropriate. And of course that comes with the recommendations of peer members, so it's worked out pretty good. And also from a point of purchasing, the network team have to put together formal specifications for each build that they want to plan, and that is then given to the members for discussion and approval. So you guys are all kept in the loop about where all of our funds are going and how they're being appropriated. So yeah, it's a good system so far, and Justo has kindly taken the reins.
To tracker, I'll just give a quick update of what's going on.
Sure.
Just so some things that have happened in the last month or so. I believe Shadow Park's finished now today.
Indeed.
Excellent. Which is good.
Oh, finally today, yeah. Oh.
I'm sure you guys
Can't
are you going to
see
talk about that later, or
Yeah.
Yep. no problems. I'll let that to
As
you.
soon as you're done.
Excellent.
Oh, that works. For everyone.
New
Yeah.
tickets.
Figure if I can read up and hear what else can I.
So Cement Hill, obviously. The LCC stuff is fixed. I can close those calls. I can close those tickets.
Do you want this sorted by number or something?
Yeah, just by recent created if possible. Take it again.
Yeah.
Broke it.
Now you go. Cool.
So obviously, at the moment, it's not really a core node or a managed node, but the link between GSP and Tring is down due to a faulty something. There's some weird interference that we don't know what's really causing it, and we never found the source, did we? So we're just going to replace the radius at both ends hopefully pretty soon and get that hopefully sorted out. Suntrix, which is a core node, still got the backbone link back to Mobry. The Nana bridge died. The spare one is in my car waiting to be replaced. I'm trying to organise the time to do that hopefully this week, I'm hoping. Yeah,
Making sure.
that's about it really. Scroll down a bit. So Cement Hill, did you guys go there today? Yesterday? What did you do yesterday? Cabling?
Recrimped a couple of the cables that the connectors are literally corroded to pieces.
Just a bit of maintenance on the connectors there. Obviously they're high salt areas, so they're corroded a bit. There's still a Rocket M2 which needs to be replaced, which I have now. It's in my car. I'm going to give it to you.
They'll be going in Monday then.
Yep, so that'll be going in Monday to replace that faulty rocket on the sector there. Yeah. I can't see anything else really.
Everything
Core
else is
signage.
old.
Another thing is we had a bit of a visit at Tonsley the other day. Nathan's probably good to talk about it because he's less technical than I am, because I get excited when I see a cable. But so obviously we got contacted by Tonsley to say by Paul Gardner, Steve.
Yeah, so Paul actually did a presentation for us many years ago on the Serval project,
Yeah, I wasn't here for that. Yeah.
which you can Google it.
Under my laptop.
It's a project that is Wi-Fi related, but also it's about making kind of mesh networks with cheap telephone handsets for use in disaster situations. So rapid deployment of wireless network technology using simple handsets so that people can get communications up and running when there's a disaster. And yeah, I mean, they're clearly progressing well with that project, and this is a opportunity to kind of co-locate some equipment in their research.
Yep, in their research area, which is pretty much all over the uni.
Yeah. And they're also, I mean, since he did his presentation, he's mentioned that they were interested in working with Airstream to use our network as part of that research project as well. So that's pretty good and
Yeah, the
exciting.
guys there seem very excited to be with us, to help us, for us to help them, for them to be involved, for us to be involved with them, and for us to be involved with the groups they're involved with.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great. They seem very excited, very enthused, like they want to get it. So it's this portion here, isn't it? If that's like the right thing.
Sure you can.
Control F is search function.
Just look through the mash of lines. They're
Street
whichever,
maps.
so don't do that. Do you need it? What's the
It's literally
exclusion?
right there.
So,
Right.
That's the building there.
yeah, so that's, sorry, I'm going to butt in with just idea. As many people know here, Mitsu's got shut down, and that's the Mitsubishi plant. So years ago, the government decided they were going to redevelop it. So this is how big it is. It's the size of a small suburb. It's massive, this place, right?
Has its own shuttle bus.
Yeah, it does have a shuttle bus. And this is a very old photo. It hasn't really changed. Oh, sorry, the picture hasn't changed, but there has been a lot of redevelopment going on here. And we tied in with Tony on this one, and yeah, had a bit of a look at this new building they built, and it's insane. It's 5 stories high with I don't know. It's pretty big. If you go on the 4th or 5th floor, you can see line of sight pretty much in all directions. The only thing that's obviously higher is like Pasadena or Cement Hill. I mean, that's sort of this way. But yeah, if you go back to the other map, Nick, it's the NoDB, you'll see that there's like a hole. We have nothing in there really. We've got Ascot Park, which is north. We've got a couple of clients who are connected to Bedford Park. And yeah, so it'd be great to get something there. I don't know. We've been there and had a look. We had a really good chat to the guy, Paul, we were just talking about him before. He's really looking after us, put it that way. He's done some crazy amounts of work for us by putting on every single...
So around the building,
Yeah.
basically what he's got is we've got 360 coverage of the building, around the building. There's masts attached to the support pillars, and there's 3 masts on each pillar. And on each pillar there's 5 copper runs and 1 fibre that are pretty much for us to use together, but it's pretty much anything we
And
ever want.
240 as well. So
And
literally-
240 for power. So it's literally walk in, plug a device in.
and then
Those are all completely separate of the uni network. They are run straight back to his lab, where they are patched into a patch panel, where he has a big rack with nothing in it.
Oh, so does that mean that we can have, like, say, a few sectors and a backbone on each corner of the building? Or?
Well, we'd hope so in the long term. Like,
we
that's
don't think that
clear.
they'll... Yeah,
We haven't thought about anything like that yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can plug an old Volt 260s on the fire.
Yeah. We can do a speed test between them.
I'll just sort of give you an idea.
The other thing too, there's 3 more mounting points that we actually have under the cover where they're redeveloping, which would give us pretty much hotspot coverage of the entire campus. Which they also have.
It's mammoth.
Well, they also have
Yeah, no, that's sweet.
Yeah, so we can put those around.
pretty much that's what I was looking for. Yeah.
So is that a developer that's working there, or?
He's a lecturer, but he also has his own lab for his stuff experiments he's doing.
Oh, okay, so he has the authority to take control of this.
What's the lecture on?
Don't actually.
Communications. or
Yeah,
something.
telecommunications. Yeah.
So are they doing in your school
Fiber
now?
now.
Sorry.
they're doing a new school there now.
He's been there for a long
Just
time.
found the Airstream new head office.
Pretty much is, yeah.
I get one too, cool. It's pretty huge. Like I said, if you're inside the building, you've got a lot of offices and stuff, and the best thing is
HGP2 plus.
yeah, I get part 2 plus. Better. But yeah,
Yeah.
the best thing is the access. Like the guys put gear up there, no problems at all. You guys can, there's people working there, they're
Yeah, the guy,
researching stuff, and they're like, I don't worry about them, they're just
we were
working
there, and
us.
the guy's like, what are you doing? It's like, well, we're just testing. We're having a look. It's like, was that an experiment? Like, yeah. Everyone there seems really, really excited about everything all the time.
And the people there are like really,
Really smart.
So they're all interested to know what we're doing as well. So
That's how you get to be that smart.
well, I'm really hoping that we can sort of, I'm not saying use it as like a recruit drive, but I mean, the people that are going to be going there are going to be interested in this stuff, and they're going to be wanting to go, what's this Airstream I keep seeing on my phone? And I mean, that's the other thing they've got.
We're going to need some posters inside the building.
Yeah, so we're going to get people that are actually going to want to come to us and say, what are you doing here? And they'll be feeding us back with input of just knowledge as well. So
That's really good. What's
more
the
and more
catch?
people. There really
There really isn't a catch.
I had to ask, and someone
We sat there for like 2 hours trying to find a catch. And
we really did. We tried to none it out.
You need to put up posters for people to get interested into it. But
he's like, yeah, no, he's really, really helpful. He's pretty much, they pretty much said to the builder like, oh, I want these, and the builder's like, okay.
cool.
So anyway, short-term plan, you just want to put some gear in there?
Well, short term, so we had a problem with blast, so it's actually the masting points are on inside.
That's the catch if you want.
So that's the catch.
Yeah.
Got any photos?
We do, but not with us, unless you have them with you.
No, you bring.
Yeah,
I did
so-
give them to you though. They're on Airstream. They're on
They are,
Airstream.
but not easily accessible.
Someone
through-
jump on.
Yeah, that's blocked.
The other
I can't
thing,
get
yeah.
to it.
Molly ever get to it.
Security through.
So, yeah, the only problem we have is
to get through as well. So.
yeah, it's alright. The only problem we have is some glass. The guy was told that the glass was spec to be radio transparent. I mean, glass can only be so much radio transparent. But he wants us to test, so if they aren't, he can tell the builder that it was wrong and that the builder can, so he can put a ticket in and do whatever he needs to do with the glass.
Smash the
Drill a hole.
Yeah, so I can poke dipole out, yeah. But yeah, that's the only catch. So hopefully the next step we do is to test how much
How
That-
really transparent.
glass is blocking, which I'm thinking is a lot at the moment.
On a good note, I'm about to move into the Aurora building on Prairie Street, and on the 12th story, there it basically is line of sight directly to there.
Yeah.
So I can see that from outside the CEO's window, and I said, would you guys mind if I put a panel in the window? It would just be, look like a picture frame. And they're like, yeah, fine. So,
That's good.
Yeah, Chris is the
Yeah,
yeah, something like that. So, and because I'm moving into the second floor, I've got customers on the second floor and on the 12th.
In my
And
backpack.
I've got key cards
Oh,
to
no,
get up both and into both floors after hours as well. So,
That'd be sweet. Put like a 120-degree sector on the floor.
Cooks up pictures, he's put on there.
we're basically right next to the
Cooks up
second
the pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
fine.
Yeah, we can jump on it.
How don't you get
Sure.
So,
Got some pictures I'll show
no,
later.
that's awesome, and like I said, we'll have to try and invite Paul down again to give us a bit of a talk.
Yeah,
on
Paul's
it.
happy to come and chat, just let him know.
So, yeah.
He's really helpful really all the time.
That's on there.
So other network related, quickly, have you got them on a USB or something?
Yeah, yeah.
So, what size fit does it?
So basically, I can throw text to one of them.
Yeah, that's true.
So see what I'm doing here. South.
Smith Hill, Shido Park. I guess you can give us an update on those two next
See.
one.
Two cells.
Sure can.
South and
We do that real quick.
Through.
Yep.
We get to that.
Yeah, cool.
Yep, so today we did, today we did finished off Shido Park install, hence why I'm still filthy. I've literally come straight from there. So yeah, we ended up putting up a 120-degree sector covering in down sort of the valley area that is sort of skewered by hills. Backbone connection back to Cement Hill and Omni for beaconing of everything. So I ended up using a 15-metre telemast there, knocking out the top 3 metres of that, so it's nice and solid. And yeah, it's quite nice, pretty happy with it. The site owner's really happy with it because on the very top of the mast he's got his CB UHF antenna, and they're getting much better range now than what they were, so everyone's happy there. That's really all there is to say about that. We'll chuck some pictures up on the gallery probably tonight, tomorrow, something like that.
When I got home, I had a chat to one of the guys at the front counter over the radio, and I told him that it's working, it's coming through from my place.
Yeah, so their CB antenna goes, where are you now?
Woodville.
Woodville to Shido Park,
Woodville to
easily.
Shido Park.
Definitely much better considering they couldn't reach Majors Road before. So
This line down the bottom right from that is going where? And is that real?
no, that's not real. That's,
line?
yeah, that's not real.
Yeah.
That's line of sight looking at Meadows.
Is anyone connected to Shido Park yet?
Not yet.
Yes.
'Cause
There will be.
Time is connected to it before.
not yet. No.
Alright, it's not that permanent.
No. It literally went fully online. Well, probably now while Justo's configuring it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. It's now online.
And is anyone connected?
Has anyone connected you?
Come on.
Yeah, so that's Shido Park. That was good fun, that one.
There is
So-
a picture of an insector.
Ah, yeah, later. They'll be on the gallery for all those that.
Yeah, we're the only ones that are going to see it at the moment.
Yeah. And the other one was Cement Hill, so we went there yesterday. I've now got a nice big gash on my leg where I got caught on a Yagi, so that was good fun. So yeah, Cement Hill, I've been having a few issues there with a couple of the rockets for quite a while now, so re-terminated 2 cables up the top of the tower, and yeah, found that it's definitely not the cable on one of them. It looks like the actual isolation transformers that cooked itself in the rocket, but bench testing will tell us that anyway. So we've got another one to swap in there. What are we looking at?
That's Cement Hill.
Oh, okay, that's Cement Hill. Cement Hill's up on top of the hill.
Cement Hill.
Awesome view.
How's that link happening? How's that link there?
It's
Your
not,
link?
it's not putting
I've
my
got
spot.
I've got a Lonsdale.
Alright, so this is just some redundant line that someone drew in there. Never mind me then.
Testing on a.
Looks like you got line of sight though, Just.
It's not putting mast height in either.
Not that signal's not that
It's
strong.
not great. Yeah. Sorry, mate.
It's not putting mast height in either.
It's rough.
Yeah,
Are you sure?
yeah.
How dare it do that?
Bug report. Done.
Yeah, where's the bug report?
I sent you an email. Yeah, so it's literally Shido's. Tony's all of about 400 metres from it.
Yeah.
He'll have good fun there.
And the link to Lonsdale from Cement Hill. Still quality?
Yeah, yeah. that
No
plays
issues?
good. So yeah, that's what's happened in the last 2 days. So the plan at the moment is to head back to Cement Hill on Monday to swap out that rocket, and yeah, that should get our northern 2 gigahertz coverage running properly again.
Lonsdale Cement Hill link there.
The NRC is a good one because it's like 6 metres from the ground when it should be 45. But yeah, that's those ones.
Awesome. That's a good link.
Yeah, that one.
It's a volcano at the middle. Yeah. Got lava flying out. You want to show us the pigs? That's alright, it's that bad. How many pigs are there? Damn you windows.
Forest check.
These ones?
Forest check.
These aren't naked.
Oh, okay, so cement, that's the other one I forgot about. Cement Hill, one of the guy wires snapped, and it actually corroded off
Yeah.
on the cable. So
Can you see that, Sean? Does that come out? Yeah.
yeah, so we had the guy wires there are using a product called the Anchor Lock duck build, and the ones that we installed in there were recommended for the application. However, we grossly underestimated the salinity of the soil there, and yeah, 8mm galvanised wire rope has just corroded straight through in 2.5 years. So that snapped off. So we're down to 5 wires on that tower now. that cement hill there.
wonder why it
It's
wasn't
mildly
Australia.
awkward to climb when it's on its side like that. But,
Could be easy.
yeah. What are we looking at? That looks like fibre, man.
It's got fibre, hasn't it?
Not, this isn't cement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm assuming this is Tonsley.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Oh, I see.
Rotate
Oh, you can rotate it.
I don't know how to use these computers.
Yeah, so he's got these things everywhere. They're television mounts he used, which is fine. It's got like a plastic thing on it.
I like that.
Where? Oh, you can't see.
It's cool. LCD.
Look like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's sort of related to where they are. So you don't even, and you can put like a little board here for us, a little gear on. And it's all in the corner, so there's people working here, and yeah. So again, for access, it's really good. And then there's not really a photo I can show you that'll show you line of sight around the building without, doing this.
Where's that building?
This is the Tonsley building.
Mitsubishi.
Oh, okay.
So that's the network room where everything gets patched back to, which is, like I said, it's great because we've got access to it. And a whole bunch of stuff there.
That's also in the room, probably.
Yeah, so that's all ours, or access for our gear. You can see where everything's got a sticker on it. It's fine. You can use it. So, and they're going to be using it for their experiments as well. They've got plans for doing like 1 gig stuff and whatever. But and, they've already asked us for assistance with that, and I said, yeah, well, there's going to be somebody in the club who's going to be able to help you. So I think it's Bedford Park, Chris, is it, or
That building.
over here, or I didn't know quite where it was, but yeah.
Yeah. Picking. That's still more elevated than I thought.
That's like the 4th story, so you
Yeah.
can still see like pretty good coverage wherever. So yeah, not a picture though. But so that's what he's given us there.
That. Sorry, man.
So that's what he's given us there for like on every, and there's 11 of them. There's like a lot.
Wow.
So if you look at that and go, yeah, how much money is that? It'll be quite a bit. So we feel pretty lucky to get anything this good. So it's good. Not having to do any infrastructure or any of that Highgate Park drama we had.
No, you don't
Yeah,
have
I see.
time.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, cabling between the two.
you go to the
Yeah,
next.
sweet.
You go to the next picture. Oh yeah.
Those are concrete, aren't they?
Yeah. They're all solid. So that's what holds the building up. So there.
Yeah, they're right through.
But like I said, they're distributed like sort of not evenly. They're sort of like there's one. There'll be like 3 on the 4th floor and then 5 on the other floor. So they're not going to be. It's not like an EARC setup where we've got like 1 floor. It's all ours. We can put wherever we want 360. It's more like it's scattered where he has control, which is better for us because it means that we go, hey, go on, Paul. We're having problems with number 10. He's like, yeah, no worries. Just give us a call. And and having that sort of accessibility is great because then we don't have to get access to the roof and
So we've also got greater separation.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's always-
we're not going to be using every one of them.
Yeah,
they,
Side to that's
they're going to be doing their stuff as well. So they want to do testing with lasers and all sorts of shit.
Use the same frequency on opposite sides of the building then.
Well, that'd be the great thing, wouldn't it? If you can use one channel for all the sectors, it'd be great. But I don't know. I don't know what they've got at EARC. I think you don't have that. Yeah, but yeah, it's good. It's a good site. So
Yeah, this building's a lot bigger than
yeah,
the water tower. So
it's really wide as well. So it's yeah.
you've got stuff in between the building and the point.
There's lots of metal and all sorts of stuff. Yeah. There's the AP in every room and lots of junk as well. So it's all very crazy building.
Should
And
be
there's
fun.
no roof access at all. That's putting everything on the roof.
That's good.
Google.
All right, well, that's cool. We look forward to hearing more about that.
You're being watched.
Apparently.
I think we'll get into this presentation. I know Necron is itching to get it going, so he's all ready.
Oh yeah, I'm thrilled. So as I said,
Bring it on.
I'm going to do this very informal. I have a whiteboard marker, so I'm going to draw pictures for you all. Can I have the next slide, please, Mr. Troy?
Certainly.
So basically what I was going to have a bit of chat about tonight was planning a mast, building a mast, and things you probably should think about when doing a mast. So my main points are going to be identifying requirements, mounting guide wires and ongoing maintenance. A couple of these things we do without thinking, some of the other ones generally get forgotten. So If we go to the next slide.
And it's safe to say, if you want to be on a network team, you need to know this kind of stuff as well.
Yeah.
Not to mention doing your own builds. but-
Yeah, it's something every member should know, is
Yeah.
how to plan and build a mast properly. So, identifying requirements. This is something that we most of these points that I've got up here, we do without thinking, some of which often get overlooked. So, load requirements, accessibility, wind and exposure of the mast, existing infrastructure that you've got to work around, and visual requirements is becoming more and more important when planning masts, so the council doesn't send us an angry letter. So I'm going to start off with these with load requirements and wind and exposure, because it's something that I've done wrong myself. I've broken masts. If it's possible to destroy a mast in a certain way, I've probably done it. Not the best way to learn, but it is a way to learn. So one thing that we're all very, very good at doing is overloading masts. When you look at requirements for masts and things like that, and when we're planning our builds, first thing we should be thinking about is how much gear do we want to put up there? How much gear could we possibly want to fiddle with? Are we going to put other things on the mast? Is there going to be a TV aerial up there as well? Are we going to put a satellite dish hanging off the side of it? Those sorts of things. Do we want to put a wind turbine on there as well? Who knows? So load requirements are very, very important. And the Hills Tello masts, the Bitec version of them, a very good example. If you read the manufacturer's data sheets, maximum loading on those masts is roughly 13 kilos, which is not much when you start putting cable runs on there. You put a couple of sectors on there, you've overloaded the mast already. So 13 kilos for reference, a Ubiquity 120 degree sector plus a rocket and the brackets, they're 7 kilos by themselves. Doesn't feel it, it is, chuck it on the scales. So something worth having a good think about when you're designing your mast. How much gear do you want to put on it? Sometimes you don't know that before you start. And yeah, over-engineer is probably the easiest way there. And wind and exposure. So I'm talking exposure to elements. Are you on a hills facing zone? Something like that. Are you right up against the ocean? How much wind are you likely to get on that mast? How much gear are you going to have on it? Do you need to think about things like radomes, extra supports? Do you need to stiffen it up? Those sorts of things. So they're all things that sometimes some of us do without thinking. Some of us may not have ever thought about it. Some of us might have a piece of conduit running up and have stuff strapped to that. I've seen that done before. Goes on to accessibility. All I'm getting at there is how do you get the gear on the mast? How do you change gear on the mast? How do you actually physically access that radio? It's just died at the very top of the mast. Cement hill, for example, you need someone that can climb straight up the side of it. Shido Park we've just done, you'll drop the mast down, go like that. Some other masts tilt over. Hampstead Gardens is an example of that one. That's got a custom mount on it. You physically tilt the entire mast over. Can't think of too many other types. Some of them you can just reach the antennas straight on. So accessibility and how you are going to actually use the mast are very important things to think about at the start when you're first planning your mast as to what style of mast you want to use. Existing infrastructure is pretty self-explanatory. Is there other gear there that we need to think about? Is there power lines close? If our mast, for God knows what reason, falls over, is it going to fall on power lines? Things like that. If that happens, you get nice fireworks. And you get angry phone calls. So existing infrastructure can be things like buildings, trees, other antennas on the structure. So sites that may have high-powered transmitters already there, you may need to have a think about how you're going to do your mast to minimise interference with the existing gear. So a lot of these things, yeah, we sometimes do, sometimes don't. They're things to be thinking about. Visual requirements, are you going to annoy the shit out of your neighbour? Had that one before as well. It's not fun. One of the biggest tricks to this one, especially if you're going to put some big gear up on the mast, is put it up there and don't turn it on for a couple of weeks and wait for the complaints to come in. And then they say, oh, your new antenna's knocking out my TV. It's like, well, see that there? That antenna's not actually plugged in. Go away. be nicer than that, because you generally get really shitty if you're very tall. So, identifying the requirements. Very first stage you should be thinking about. To me, this is the very first thing you would do when before you even think about your wireless gear on the mast, is what am I likely, how keen am I going to get, and how much gear am I likely to ever stuff around with. Hard to sometimes pick because technology changes. When I first built my mast, we weren't ever looking at parabolic dish antennas. We were using grids and Yagis and all sorts of fun things that are noisy as hell. Now we've got shiny new dish antennas. The loading requirements of my mast have actually changed now, so they catch a lot more wind. So where could the technology possibly go in the future? Who knows? Are you likely to put nice big heavy solid cast antennas up? Who would know? So my big point here is over-engineer and assume that whatever you're going to put on there, double it, and you're probably going to be close to what you actually need. Any questions on that point? Comments? You think I'm full of crap? Do you want me to go?
Do you generally use like existing manufactured masts?
Some places, yes, we do.
Yeah.
So the Shadow Park install is an off-the-shelf mast.
Yeah.
Even still, with that, we do make our certain parts of it ourselves. So a lot of the masts that you can buy off the shelf are generally fairly lightweight and designed for things like TV antennas. So the Telemasts are a very good example of that. You look at the user manual for those and the document supply for them, every example is using a TV antenna. That's what they were designed for originally. The off-the-shelf wire kits and things that come with them are generally designed for a lot smaller head loads, so your wind loading side of it. So quite often we don't use the supplied wires and we go to a wire rope or something. I'll talk about guy wires a bit later. But where we can and where practical, we like to use off-the-shelf parts, but half the time it's actually cheaper just to build something new.
Do you ever run into issues with having to get it certified like structurally by qualified people and things like that?
Generally, if you're under, so most council areas you can do about 6 to 8 metres without building approvals, as long as it's not attached to a structure. Because they aren't classed as a structure themselves, no, you don't need certification. Some sites do ask for testing reports. The ARC is an example of that. Equipment on a water tower, they wanted to see that we'd actually done the engineering side of the mounting and what we were using there. So I had nice big simulations and I gave them so much data their heads bang. So sometimes,
so as long as you
yes.
do it yourself or something, you don't need like a structural engineer or something to sign off on
Oh,
it.
I'm an engineer, so yeah,
Makes
I've
it
got
easy.
all the toys. So sometimes yes, you do.
Yeah.
99 times out of 100, no, you don't, because they're not technically classed as structures because they're too small. It's like if you were to build a shed. In some areas, you can build a shed under 3 by 3 metres and you don't even need approval for it. So, yeah, that's what I got there. Anyone else want to know anything about the initial planning stages of your mast? Nope. Okay.
Insurance as well. Seems like
As an Airstream member, you have access to public liability insurance. But please don't drop masts on people. Because there's a lot of paperwork.
And unless you're having a barbecue on that day and everyone's invited, it doesn't apply either. So.
I thought if it landed on someone in public, it did. If your mast fell out the front of your yard and landed on someone.
Potentially.
Yeah. There's a grey area. There's a grey area.
Yeah, I mean, that would definitely depend on if you've done everything correctly and according to what you'd been advised by the club.
Yeah. So, short of it, no. But maybe. Do the
You don't want to deal with that. Trust
You don't want to deal with it. Don't design your mast to fall over. It's always really depressing when you see the mast go like plop. And it's like, oh shit, I had $1,000 worth of gear on the top of that. Oh well, it's there now.
Unless it gets caught by a power line or something, it's safe.
Yeah. I've watched masts fall over. There's nothing you can do about it. I've done some silly things trying to save masts from falling over. Just ask Sam Goon. But anyway, I still have my hand. It's all good. That was a bad day.
Let's catch that.
Yeah. Short of it, don't try and catch a wire rope. Can I have my next slide, please, Paul? Mounting of masts. So for the bulk of this, the majority of masts on the network are going to be something like a cylindrical pipe, a telescopic round mast, something like that. There are the rare circumstances where you're lucky enough to have access to lattice towers, things like that, or a square tower. I don't know why you would. Chris has got a really cool mast. It's a monopole, if you might, climbing pegs all the way up it. Mounting for equipment on masts changes for every single mast. Mounting for the actual mast itself, where it's going to fix, changes for every single mast. There are no two sites that are exactly the same. So there's a few things that we want to have a look at when we're working out where we're going to put our mast and how we're going to attach our mast. For argument's sake, let's say we're going to use a telomast, because that's what one of the most common ones to use is. Either a telomast or a 6 metre piece of water pipe. Two most common things we do. So we want to think about how are we fixing the base? How is it being supported? Do we need guy wires? Are there solid stays? Is it short enough that we can get away with using solid stays? Where are we physically going to put it? Can we lay it down if it's that style of mast? Can you actually get into it to work on it? Structural stability of the mast, as well as structural stability and the critical structural components of what you're fixing it to. Are you bolting to the side of a building? Do you need to think about, all right, is that wall actually capable of supporting this? 9 times out of 10, probably. There's always that one time that someone's decided to bolt something into mortar. Seen it. Go up. Or, yeah, bolted into asbestos. Seen it. Go up on the Highgate Centre. You'll see some outriggers on the side of the building there that are bolted straight into mortar. Brilliant idea. Don't do it. No-go zones are things like power lines, asbestos roofs, those sorts of things. I'm not going to tell you what not to do or what to do. I have no coordination. I'm not going to tell you what not to do and what to do, because chances are everything I told you not to do I've probably done. But have a think about, if the base of your mast moves, the top's going to move. So you want that base to be nice and sturdy. It cannot move. My trick, Cook does the same thing. If we put a mount on the side of the wall, I want to be able to hang on it. That's 100 and something kilo.
This does a Shido part. Necron can hang on a Shido
Yeah,
mount.
Shido part mount, so I can hang on them. That's
Yes.
100 and a lot of kilos.
You can hang 2 Necrons on one mount.
Yep. You look back at our old Port Adelaide masts. They were capable of holding about a tonne each. There was 3 on each mast.
Just for your next one, what fixings are you using and what's it going into?
But bricks,
Bricks and Ramsey,
yeah, Dynabolts,
Dynamos,
M10 Dynabolts,
anything?
M10s, Yep.
And how
Yep.
far?
70 mil.
70 mil.
70 mil. Good for, on paper they're good for about 500-600 kilos each. I would not want to test that.
No, that's sheer weight.
No, working load, and you look them up. Shear weights in like the order, shear strength is in the order of about 1.2, 1.4 tonnes. I don't want to test it.
You don't want to get there.
I don't want to get there. If you're getting to 1.2 tonnes on one of your mounts, there's something not right. As Cook's just pointed out, through bolts, really, really nice if you've got access to the other side of the wall, and whatever the other side of the wall can actually have a nice big bolt or a piece of running thread or something going through, and you have a backing plate on it. That's what we did at Port Adelaide. We've done it at a few other sites as well over the years.
Well, if someone has a problem with the bolt sticking out, you can put it all the way through and then cut the rest of it off.
You're still going to have a bolt there that's a visual side of it. So it goes back to my previous point, the visual side of it. People mightn't like having a bolt sticking through their wall. I know if I tried to get away with that,
You know, paint and put it on top of it.
yeah, if I tried to get away with that at my mother's place, I'd be shot. So yeah, the actual mounting of how you're fixing your mast to a structure is vitally important, because if it moves, your whole mast is going to move, it's going to come down and you're going to have tears. If you're doing a freestanding mast, you're thinking about how much weight do I need under this mast if you're doing a concrete base. So I've got a 150mm lattice face tower in the backyard. It's 12 metres tall-ish. That's got roughly 900 kilos of concrete sitting under it. The guy by mounts have got about 500 kilos under him. Cooks, yeah, it's about leverage. So if your guy wires to snap, is it going to fall over? Those sorts of things. So my mast can actually stand up by itself without guy wires. I wouldn't want to leave it there for long, but it can do it. So yeah, thinking about how stable is your base? How stable is it? What are you attached to? Yeah, how stable is the thing you're attached to? Those sorts of things. Very important one is identifying critical structural components. So, rule of thumb, if it looks like it is a structural column or some metal beam or something like that, generally don't drill into it. You'll find your civil guys will chuck a tanty if you start drilling holes in structural members. They really don't like it. On that same note, if you're working on a freestanding lattice tower, such as like an old windmill tower, the Meadows site is a good example of this. Check it out in gallery, it's really cool. Sort of freestanding, what do they call them? Pyramid type towers. Never ever drill a hole in those, because every part of those masts is a structural part. You drill holes, you're weakening one part of that mast. They are designed to have things clamped to them. So if you don't know it, in saying that, I've done it before I knew about it and I got told off very, very quickly. So don't drill holes in things that look important. If you don't know, ask. There are people around that probably know what they're doing. There's probably people around that have made the mistake before. IRC, members at. Ask people on the club. That's why we're part of a club. So ask someone that knows. Yeah, that's about what I got on the mounting side of the masts. Questions, comments, discussion.
It's probably worth mentioning that wind loads can put quite substantial forces
Oh,
on
yeah.
the tower, and those forces are not in the same direction as the weight.
Exactly. So that comes down to my next slide is the guide wires. How good am I? So I ran a quick calculation the other day. Ran a quick calculation on a 12 metre mast that had 0.6 metres of direct wind loading at the rated winds for an area. The rated maximum winds for this area were 140 kilometres an hour. It's putting on that top wire, it's putting, I think it was 3-point-something tonnes of force on this wire. Huge amounts of it, and because you've got a nice big lever there, there's just amazing amounts of forces involved. So brings me to my next point, unless there's other questions about mountings, how to work out how much you need, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, is this going to be on the test?
Sure is. Sure is. You can't leave unless you pass. Yep. So guide wires. Necron's rule of thumb, every 3 metres above 6 metres. So if it's only a 6 metre mast, put them at 6 metres. If it's a 9 metre mast, 6 and 9, and you can work it out from there. When you start getting over, well, I highly doubt that any of us will ever have the fun time of building anything over probably 15 metres. Then it's as manufacturers recommended. With all of this, if there is manufacturer's documents on the off-the-shelf mast, follow their directions. So, how many wires is the $1 million question? How many do you need to make it so it's not going to fall over? In an ideal world, the wires are only there to keep it stable. It should be able to stand up without wires, because if that wire snaps, you don't want that mast falling over. How big do the wires need to be? Generally we're using 5 to 6 millimetre wire rope. Why don't we use braid? Because it stretches. A lot of your off-the-shelf masts come with braid because it's 1/10 of the price. How do you tell the difference? Wire rope's expensive and it looks really shiny and nice. Braid looks cheap and nasty. What's that say? Calculating lengths. If you really want me to go through calculating wire rope lengths, I will, but I really don't want to. You all done Pythagoras theorem in high school? If you can't work it out, go back to Pythagoras theorem.
Get a piece of string and tie it and then measure each.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And whatever you think it should be, add 2 metres.
Yeah, measure twice and cut one.
Yeah, whatever it should be, add a couple of metres. Components, I was going to bring them in and I completely forgot about it. What components are in a guide wire, what makes them up? So you've got your things like your thimbles, your wire rope grips, your turnbuckles, D-shackles. If you think you need 2 D-shackles per wire rope, buy 4, because chances are you'll need them. General layout. Cookbook, do you want to talk about terminating wire rope or not?
Wiring for guide wires, get twice as much as you think you need.
Yeah, I'm with you. So,
This is not sex ed.
this is not sex ed. Wire rope. You've obviously got one solid long piece of wire rope. You want to put an eye on the end of it so you can connect it to something. All the components. Cookbook. Talk. You're not talking.
I'm a dogman, so I've done this sort of stuff like on a bigger scale. I'm going to shout you down on this one. A lot of the builds we do, we don't need like excessive amounts, and we normally use about sort of 4 to 5 mil rope, so it's like 4 mil or 5 mil, which is like, it's got a FSWR. Yes, we could do FSWR, but that's a whole nother fucking theory. Yeah, so, and the breaking strain of this is pretty, like it's fairly high, like it's pretty good stuff.
3 ton or something.
Yes, it's pretty good. So, yeah, so majority of my builds I usually use 4 mil, mainly because it's sort of that cost effective bit where it's sort of like, that's the right stuff to use for the job we're going to use it for.
The other side of it is if you go too big, you're not going to get the tension on it to keep it straight either.
Yeah.
It's going to be sagging. So you'd never put, on mast that we'd ever build, you'd never put 10 mil rope on it. It's just silly. It's going to cost you an absolute fortune. Even the 50 metre masts don't use 10 mil rope.
Yeah, they just use lots of rope.
They just use lots of rope.
And they have a lot of, they work on redundancy, so they work on like, if we lose 3 wires, will the mast fall over? Right, good, yep, let's double it over again.
Yeah, which gets back to my point of your mast should be able to stand up without wires.
Yeah. So you've got a couple of parts to the guide wires. I call them guide wires, people call them guide wires, I think, whatever it's called. So you pretty much got your rope, which will come down from your mast. Sorry if I'm going a little bit, I haven't really versed this or anything, but I've just done it 100 times. You've got your fixed point wherever you're attaching it to. Could be the roof, could be a chimney or a tree.
I highly recommend not a chimney or a tree.
Yeah, it's bad.
The trees let go.
Sometimes you can use them. Yeah, so you've got guide wire that goes into. So you've got. I'll say I use like a piece of what we used on Shoto Park. So it's a piece of angle iron.
Angle iron bolted to the roof is always a really nice one, straight into a beam or something.
It's got a nice D-shackle on it, which means the wire will give you a bit of movement as well, and it's very easy to take off. Whatever. And then you've got your iron, and then you've got your what's it bloody called? Thimble inside it, which is it pretty much keeps the form of the wire regardless if it gets tension or. And also the other thing too is it's also a visual when you look at it and you see if it's moved. If you can see that the thimble has moved in the mount, you can actually tell if the mast
is loosened off.
Yeah. So it's also a really good, especially with the wire rope we're using. It's not very thick, so it hasn't got a tendency bird cage and even break. So it's always a good idea to put a thimble in.
It also keeps a nice curve on the wire, so you don't have a sharp edge where you're attaching it to whatever.
Getting all over your hands.
Yeah.
So if you need to adjust the wire later on, you have a sharp edge to punch out.
Yeah.
Or it's not going to wear through it as quick. That's more the point.
You've got your so this is the eye, and then you also got your turnbuckle, which is a bit like this. It's a bit sort of.
There is a couple of different ways of attaching to turnbuckles as well. Some people like to go directly onto the turnbuckle, so they put the thimble through the turnbuckle and then attach like that. Personally, I like to use a D-shackle, but it's each to their own.
And yeah, what I usually do is I wind these right out. I go all the way out until you can literally see a little bit of thread sticking out through here.
Probably only one or two.
If you've got like M8s or M6s you use, there's plenty of thread on there for whatever you're going to do. And that means that when you've got your wire there, you know where they're all set to. And when you start turning, you've got a lot of movement, so you can go, oh shit, we really stuffed this up. We need to go, you know, I've got to pull this one in, and this one can stay out or whatever. So you get yourself a lot of movement, and you know, right at the end when I'm finished, I'll use like a spanner and just put a couple of turns on it, and it will not move. And you can go up there in 2 months' time and check it again, and again, that's the whole rule of thumb when you get to your point of how tight it needs to be and all those sort of things. You'll pick that up from other members and stuff. So.
Yeah. Everyone's got their own take on how that should be. Personally, it's depending on what you've got up there. So some sites you want a little bit of movement, depending on what's there.
How many wires and how many sets you've got, everything?
The one that...
Yeah, I know you want that one. I'm getting to that.
That should work.
Yeah. So next, getting on about this. This is your wire rope grips. So we normally use, you really should use two. Like I've seen sites where they use one. Obviously, the second one's there for redundancy. It's designed so that it doesn't slip. The wire's not. Yeah.
If you read the Hills mask, they will tell you to use two.
It's a little bit like this.
Yeah, it looks a little bit like a tiny little U-bolt. We've got a nice little saddle.
Yeah.
I think at Underdale we use 3.
Yep. Yeah, I've used 3 on my tower. I've got 3 on each wire.
Yep.
Now the other one, and I will get it back
It's pretty bad.
backwards. These only go up one way.
Yeah.
Are those called D-shackles?
No, they're your wire rope grips. Your wire rope grips only go one way.
Yeah.
Google it. I do not know which way it is. I get it wrong
No, I
every
forget it
single
wrong
time.
too. You can, like, I've even seen riggers in my job, riggers, they're higher than me. They flip them opposite ways, so
Yep.
that it's sort
One
of like,
way, one the other.
yeah, and it's also like, they're doing different things than us, but they know better than what I do. But I'm saying, like, what we do here, I would suggest you just put them the same way.
Off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure the bolts need to go this side.
Yeah, this side of the wire.
Bolts go on the ends.
You
not
clamp
cut.
down on the spare.
Not on the ends.
Yeah, the bolts go on the ends, not cut.
And it's not.
Yeah, so you know you have like a short end and a long end.
Yeah, so your bolts are here. So they're like, this is the extra part.
Yeah.
And I always sort of give myself, like, if this is the bottom part of the wire rope, at the bottom, I always give myself at least, I don't know, a couple of sort of turns. Like, I mean, you know, you've got your 2 meters there. It's not really necessary to cut it. If you need to change it later on, if you have to change the position of the collar,
That's it. That's it. And it'll come back to some sites you can't do that, especially if the visual side of it matters.
Yeah,
and if it's going to be in full view of the world, they don't want a nice big coil of wire rope there.
Make sure you've got at least half a metre extra.
Yeah.
Yeah, half a metre's a good,
At least half a metre.
a good minimum.
It also, if you need to reset the wire, if something's happened, right, you've got something to grab hold of. Like, you get someone with some gloves, he's got like a metre of, you know, he can pull it up, or someone else is tightening it. So you haven't got this little section where you're trying to hold it and do all sorts of things while you're on a roof like that, and you know, all those things can go wrong. So yeah, it's always good to leave yourself a little bit. Just tape it up, put a cable tie on it. You know, it's there, ready to go. So if you need to move it,
Like I said, measure twice, always cut extra.
yeah, always cut at least 2 minutes. I mean, it's expensive, but it's to the point
The
where
stuff's
you've already,
like 30 to 60 cents a metre, just chuck
and
extra.
you've already
on.
come that far, so just
The last thing
Yeah.
you want to have to do is go down to Hills and or Nobles and grab more.
Yeah.
That's just annoying.
I'll definitely say this. I really suggest everyone not go to Bunnings. You will get shafted on price, and they don't always have the right stuff. The majority of the gear they've got at Bunnings is not rated for lifting, which is, well, not really lifting, but we are working with the same sort of weights.
Yeah.
So, and as
The
Necron said,
quality of the components as well, generally, like your wire rope grips are generally a lower quality.
Yeah. I mean,
the D-shackles are.
the stuff that they sell is for shade sales and things like that. And you know, I'm sure you can tell me 5 stories about someone's shade sales that flipped over on a night where I sleep very well at night, knowing that when I do a site or help someone with a site, I put the right gear on it and I can go up to the mast and shake the crap out of it and it doesn't move and I go, yep, that's fine. It's not going anywhere. So.
As Airstream members, you have access to member discounts, one of which is Nobles, who sell all of this sort of gear. So they sell wire rope, they sell all your turnbuckles, D-shackles, all that sort of gear.
Do they do the Ramsey gear?
I don't know.
Because I mean, I buy. The only thing I buy from
Bunnings do sell it.
is aluminium and brackets.
Yeah, I'd go to Capral for that, it's half the price.
So I just get like I get like a 1.5 metre
Yeah.
length for ankle.
Yeah, but only still
does
like half the price.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think like perhaps just six.
Yeah,
I'm talking like timber or piece of metal.
yeah.
But the there's someone there's Nobles open.
I think they are open Saturday morning, I think. If not, they open early as well. I think they open at about 7:30. They're on Brown Junction Road. Huge big warehouse, shiny, it's blue, it's new. So yeah, that's wire ropes. Always buy extras, because I'll guarantee you, the nuts for your thimbles, you're going to lose half of them. You take it off, it falls into a gutter, it falls down a drain, you'll lose bits. Buy extras, they're dirt cheap. You're talking 10 cents each for these sorts of things, thimbles like that. With our member discounts, rated D-shackles, M8 D-shackles are about 30 cents each. Bunnings will flog you about $1.50, $2, if not more.
Do those have nylons?
No, they don't have nylons.
Please get 10 extra.
They're a cast bit on them, so they actually bite in.
I haven't seen with the
Yeah, I've never put Nylox on. Could if you really wanted. I don't think you need to. I never have. Yeah, that's it. It's just a pain if you need to reset them, and it's pretty. I haven't seen any. I've never seen wire rope grip nuts come loose. Not when they've been done up with an actual spanner anyway.
If anything, I've seen it lead to a point where you can't.
Exactly. They normally corrode up.
That's only on the extreme.
They normally corrode up, and you can't get them off anyway. So. The last pro tip I've got for you, when you cut wire rope, the grinder is a very handy thing. However, put some tape around the rope first, that way you don't get the nice frayed edges and then you cut the shit out of your hands. Tape it, cut it through the tape. It smells funny, probably don't breathe it, but quickest, easiest, cleanest way to cut wire ropes, you're not going to end up stabbing yourself, leave the tape on there as well. That's pro tip. Cook talking about one actually.
That's one of the life hacks.
Yeah,
Make sure when you cut the wire rope, cut the bit, make it off. Not
yeah, don't cut the wrong side. That's also really annoying. He has. Battery powered grinder is your best friend as well, if you've got one. Otherwise, normal grinder. Side cutters, don't do it. If you're rich and doing this all the time, buy wire rope cutters. They're about 60, 70 bucks for a pair. They cut like, they're brilliant. Yeah, hot knife through butter. They really are. They're razor sharp though, they'll take your finger off. Yeah. Yeah. That's the next slide, how to remove the finger. So yeah, has anyone got questions on guide wires? Or any more questions on guide wires?
Is there girl wire?
Maybe.
Staying up the class.
Kids, you've got to show up the fringe, haven't you?
No, I'm just
Next slide.
Next slide, let's do the next slide. Maintenance, this is the one that always gets forgotten. How do we actually access that radio that's died on our mast? Yes, we don't want to admit it that things are going to die. They die. Everything dies eventually. It's fact of life. Lightning's a fun one. I recently had one of my towers hit by lightning in WA. I had 4 Motorola radios die on that and 1 Ubiquiti radio die on it. The only stuff that survived on it was Ubiquiti gear, amazingly. None of the $1,000 radios survived. The only way to get up this mast is with a 27 metre EWP, which I had to drive, because they wouldn't give me a low loader, and I had to drive it about 8 kilometres. All of 1 kilometre an hour. It is painful. And every time a vehicle went past, I had to pull over. So, thinking about how you're going to maintain a mast. In this example, if I were to build a new mast at this site, I would put something up that I can tilt over, because it's going to get hit by lightning again. Something I haven't even gone through is lightning protection and all that sort of stuff.
Or make it plumb.
Yeah. So how are you going to access it? Larger sites, if you can. Climbable masts are really great. They are also really expensive, but they're awesome. Not always practical. The Tello masts are probably the most practical one for a client install. So if you're just putting up an Omni and a nano bridge or a single antenna, Tello mast is the way to go. They collapse down, you undo the bolts, they come down to about 5 metres, you can access your equipment with an A-frame ladder. Except for in-roof ones.
Don't put a Tello mast in your roof.
Yeah, don't put a Tello mast on a tile roof because it'll leak like a sieve. Another one, I know we've all done it before. Like, they're not sealed.
That's why there's a nice bit.
We've all done it before, but you should never ever lean a ladder up against a mast. Then on any mast. Cook and I have got a really good story about that. We'll tell you it later when the cameras aren't on. Yeah, so never ever lean a ladder up against a mast. It's just not safe, it's not stable. Where possible, you want to bring the gear down to you. It may be a requirement that you need to get an EWP in, boom lift, scissor lift, whatever. Cook's got a mast that's like that. Fortunately, it gets expensive, but you need to think about that. So, access to your equipment and ongoing maintenance, those sorts of things. And I've spoken about it already, so I'm not going to go through upgrade strategies and future-proofing things again. Over-engineer. Think about how you're actually going to get to your equipment when it dies. It's not if it dies, it's when it dies. Everything dies. I've currently got 2 radios dead on my mast, but one day I'll get up there. I'm not all that interested in it. Yes, 2 dead radios up there. One of them's been dead for 2 years now. Clearly not that important because no one's noticed. Yeah, have a think about how you're going to get your gear. Half of this will come back to the maintenance as well. Accessing your equipment also directly ties into how you're going to get it on there in the first place. So if it's a saga to get it on there in the first place, it's going to be a saga to get it down. So it's one that we always need to think about. We don't often think about it. But yeah, so that's the little bits that I've got. One little thing I'm going to show you. One little thing I'm going to show you. I'm a massive nerd and have no life, so on the weekends I like to design things that I'll probably never build. So
Except this one will be built.
This one's going to get built. So at the moment I'm designing a climbable 10 metre monopole mast for a good friend with a nice lightning rod on it. Don't ask me how long it took me to work out how to bend bar in this program. It was not fun. But this is a little one that I've been working on. It took me, it's about probably 18 hours of designing this mast, down to the point of I've done things like, that was the wrong side because I haven't put nuts on that. Down to the point of putting welds in, defining welds, cut profiles.
Texturing the steel, that's nice too.
There's photo renders online.
Can you load it up with a ton of equipment now and see what happens? Put some 26 dBs on there.
I just got the simulation licenses as well, so I haven't yet done the simulations on this.
Ooh.
But when I was designing this,
I was so going to do some 36 dB CAD drawings.
Yeah, good luck with that. Parabolic curves are really painful.
Oh shit.
So when I was designing this, I was thinking about what are common materials, how do I minimise wastage in building this mast. This mast is going to be expensive. It's going to cost about $1,000 to build this mast. So I'm using common materials, things that are readily available. There's common sizes throughout this entire mast. That's why some of these pieces are massively oversized. These braces are actually the exact same size as the actual standoffs for the mast that go out to the outriggers.
But there
However,
a standard material you're already purchasing. So.
when you buy that material, it comes in a 7.5 metre length. So rather than buying a length of this size, and only using a metre of one of them, I've used common sizes. Same with things like with rod and the actual round bar and things like that. So there's 3 lengths of water pipe, it's actually steam pipe I've spec'd for this one. Nice heavy wall.
Estimated cost?
Estimated cost for this one, I haven't done the numbers, but I'm expecting about $1,000.
And how tall is it?
This one's 10 metres. 10 metres, so
And how much under the ground?
yep, there's 1.4 tonnes under the ground, and I can't remember exactly the dimensions of it. I think it's 800 by 800 by about a metre deep.
So is the grey box like concrete?
The grey box is concrete.
That's about a metre.
Yeah, the grey box is concrete.
And does it have wires or is it freestanding?
No, this is a guide mast. So this one has a set of wires that comes back to my rule of thumb. First set's at 6 metres, and then every 3 metres after that. So you'll see somewhere here, I can't see a thing at the moment.
Yeah.
There we go, there's a guide wire mount right there. So there's our ring that we're going to hook our wire rope onto. That's on the back bullshit.
And that's going to take a month just to get the metal together.
Yeah, it's going to take Mazza at least a month to cut the metal up. For this.
me.
But fun part is we're not paying for labour. So. Got things like cable management is always one that we sort of don't really think about. We just 99 times out of 100 we just cable tie cables down the side of the mast. Some sites it's alright, some sites it looks like rubbish. We're building a shiny mast, let's put some cable management in there anyway.
Got a shiny cable management on a shiny mast.
So I haven't yet run all the simulations on the load requirements of the foot pegs and things like that. Off the top of my head, I think I chose 16 or 18mm spring steel for the rods because it's actually quite cost effective. The round bits on the end are washers. They're only there to stop your foot falling off. So common materials is what I've gone with here.
Plasma cutter, welder,
No, I've actually done this in plasma cutter now.
Oh, okay.
So the other one I was thinking about when I was designing this is what equipment have we got access to actually do it. So this one will require a crane to put up. There's no way you'd ever stand it up on its end. Off the top, what is it? Somewhere there, it'll tell you the weight of it.
672 kilos at the top.
Matt's.
Yeah.
Oh, that's including the concrete. That's not right.
Oh, well, that's
67.
672.
Yeah, okay, that's including the concrete.
So about 100 kilos.
Yeah. So all the material properties are in this as well.
Without the concrete, it would be about
I must have done
80
Go away.
kilos.
I must have done something wrong with the material in that concrete sort of muck.
Has a shadow as well?
Yeah, 182 kilos for
That
this
sounds
mast.
more.
You're going to have to layer in the shadow there, but Mazza.
Yeah, so I'm not quite sure how Mazza's going to build the shadow to be perfectly
I know, that's
straight
going to
down
be.
on
I'm gonna have to like
Spotlight on
force.
top.
I'm gonna
that.
have to
Yeah,
force the
spotlight on
sun.
top. So
Yeah, stay right in the middle of
check
the
out
sky.
my blog for some photo renders of this as well.
I'm gonna threaten the sun.
So
We'll
yeah,
get no moon unless it stays right there.
this is basically I 3D model everything that I build. Everything that I've ever built, I've 3D modeled pretty much because I have no life. So yep.
Have you got somewhere to attach your harness onto when you're up
Sure do. See that ring right there?
there?
Rated at 1.5 tonnes. So yeah, 1.5 tonnes continuous. It's rated at about 15 kilonewtons impact. So you can hook your harness on there as you're climbing it. The intention is you use a parrot or a shark hook over the outer diameter of the mast. You don't obviously go onto a foot peg because it can fall off the end, so you go over a rigid structure. Yes, that's what that ring up the top was. These ones under here, these are the top guy wire mounts, so we get it out far enough to clear the foot pegs. The ones further down, they'll clear them anyway because I've got them offset. This mast, I think, has got 3 sets of guy wires on it. Last night I redesigned the actual guide wire mounts for them, so I haven't got them on this computer, but they're all on my work computer at the moment. But yeah, that's one of the ones that I've done. Recently, we've used the same method when we designed the new mounts for the Elizabeth Water Tower, because the council wanted to see that yes, they are fit for purpose and can handle the loads that we're putting on them. So with those designs, they had load reports and things like that as well. They were designed to be able to handle 600 kilos of force on them, which is massively over anything we'll ever do. Yeah, that's my world. So if you're interested in this side of design as well, chat to me on IRC. I really enjoy doing this sort of stuff, the design side of it. Yeah, that's all I got on this stuff.
Awesome.
We'll master it out.
Yeah.
Anyone else got any other questions on that? Anything related? While we're there?
How can I extend that 100 trillion kilometres?
Get more money.
Higher?
Yeah. Money. That's it.
Yeah, really, that's...
Oh, that's broken.
Money is the only issue.
Usually.
Yeah, no, if you want to go anything over about 15 metres, so see here, this is the Elizabeth ones we did a few years back. This was in a previous version of the software where the rendering wasn't quite as nice, but it's still kind of cool. So, don't worry about those U-bolts, I actually did up in the real thing. So, modelled the window, how it all swings together, so when you actually swing, this mount goes out of a window, so the antennas are outside, and it was designed so you could loosen the antenna off, swing it inside, do whatever you need to on the antenna, and swing it out again. That's these ones. But it's a fun tool. Yeah.
Recommended to get, right?
If you've got a spare 15 grand lying around, you can get a license of SolidWorks.
Indeed.
But I can't afford it. Work paid for it for me. There are other tools, so SketchUp is terrible, but
It's free.
it will do the job. It doesn't have any simulation capabilities in it, unless you're buying professional gear. I think there's a couple of open source ones around as well, but yeah.
Yeah, professionals got 15.
Exactly, yeah. There are other packages out there. A lot of people like using Inventor. It's quite nice as well. Personally, I'm not a fan, but it's because I was trained in SolidWorks. That's what I like to use.
You got 15 grand of software given to you.
Hey?
You got 15 grand.
Yeah, and I had 15 grand worth of software given to me, so
Oh, yeah,
Pretty hard to compete with that.
yeah, it's a bit hard to compete with. What's that?
Oh, to copy the...
Oh, later.
Later.
You can't even open it anyway.
I can,
So yeah,
technically.
over
Alright,
to you,
well-
McTroy sauce.
Thank you again, Michael, for your insights. And yeah, we know you're always online there waiting to get your hands dirty on this stuff. So you haven't run out of things to do, have you? We have to do
Oh, no.
What's the next thing?
You know, next thing is I've got to design some mounts for lattice towers, freestanding
No, yeah.
pyramid ones. I have ideas. Should be fun.
Good, eh? Alright, well if there's no other questions on that topic, and we've covered most of the network stuff, is there anything you wanted to add there, Justo? We kind of just ended your report and segued into this. All good? How's Shadow Park looking now? Lovely? Good work.
Oh, it's good.
Don't say kind of. Don't scare me like that.
Alright guys, well I think we'll wrap it up there, and thank you all for coming along once again. Until next month, so
Yeah, if you're in the Philippines tonight.
one Filipino viewer.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I said I'm looking mighty burnt.
You always look like that.
I know.
What, they sound on
being
Google
arranged.
Plus or
Sorry?
where did they view that from? Google Plus?
This.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
Straight.
great.
YouTube channel now?
You can. It's at the time.
Yeah. Autodesk stuff. Autodesk, is that okay? So I don't know what you have free if you had a student unit.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Personally, I don't use Autodesk anymore. I have used it. Yeah, it's got all those same features in there. The simulation side of it is, the simulation side is not in the free package. However, you can get a pretty good mock-up of what you want to do. The other one I find is really fun to use is Meccano and things like that. So you'd be surprised how much you can learn just by fiddling. I've got, sitting in my shed, I've got mock-ups of mounts and things just made out of scraps and stuff like that to test the strength of different types of joints. So, Autodesk is a good one. CATIA, but that's crazy expensive. Some unis have access to CATIA. Unis are a great place to actually get access to all this software as well. So.
The other question was just like lightning strikes and stuff. Is there like a way to go about that? If you've got like these Cat 5 cable going to your whole house?
Yes, there is. So lightning protection is a whole black art in itself. The 30-second version of it is ground your mast. Put a nice big lightning rod in. Don't ground it to your house power. That is the worst possible thing you could do.
Don't ground someone else's structure either.
Yeah, don't ground it to someone else's structure unless you have written permission to use their grounding stakes. Some sites like that, especially commercial sites, will already have grounding things for that sort of thing in place.
If you can, put your own in the ground.
If you can, put your own in the ground.
For something at least 2 metres in, minimum 2 metres.
1800 is the spec into the ground for a lightning rod. Larger towers, so one of the ones I've got at work, which is that's a 40-something metre tower, actually has 8 ground stakes in it. It also has a sacrificial piece at the top for attracting the lightning. Just like that model that I had there has a breakout point on it. Yeah, a lot of your commercial towers have that as well. In terms of the Ethernet side, grounding as well, isolation is probably your better option. So don't give it a path to ground. So there are manufacturers around that make Ethernet surge protectors. Short of it though, you will never fully protect your equipment from lightning.
Static generally.
Yeah, static. So you're trying to limit the build-up of the charge, hence the grounding. Give it a direct path, it won't build up. Some really good articles online about how lightning works and attracts to structures. Hundreds and hundreds of papers on it, there's standards about it. But yeah, grounding is the number one key, and isolation generally on your Ethernet side of the site.
Until we can harness lightning level, you can.
Yeah,
And
until we
every
get.
tower will have lightning harnesses.
They'll be lightning powered then.
Yeah, I've actually got a lightning surge protector here for Ethernet. I'll show you later.
Yeah, I'm going to do a little bit. I know the ubiquity PoE things have some static protection.
That's static protection, it's not lightning protection. So if that's all you've got on your mast and your mast doesn't have a nice path to ground, you're going to blow out your power injector, possibly burn some wiring in the house because it'll be earthing through the building earth, the power earth, which is not a good idea. It gets very expensive, you have to recable a house.
Oh, yeah.
And so things like water pipe would be bad as well?
For
Grounding? Earthing?
generally houses, the water pipes are earthed to the electrical earth. I've seen it done. Personally, I wouldn't do it. I'll put my own stake in. Another point to make about putting your own stake in, dial before you dig, is if you go through a pipe, it's going to cost you a lot of money. If you go through a fibre cable or something, it's going to cost you even more. They get really shitty about that sort of thing. But know where you're belting your peg into as well, because you are going down nearly 2 metres. Some grounds you can't go down that far. There are alternate standards for this sort of. Sorry. Yep. 1100, 1100, ring it. If you're going to belt something in, dig a big asshole. I think by law, if you're going over, I forget the number, I think it's only about 600 mil down. You have to do your research to make sure there is nothing there you're going to hit. So dial before you dig, dial before you belt anything in the ground. Basically, if you're going to penetrate the ground, dial the number, costs you nothing. They'll come out, they'll tell you where everything is.
What number's that?
1100, already set up. Wake up.
He thought you were just chanting binary.
Yeah.
That happens.
I was expecting two of them of that.
Cool. Thanks for that. All right. Any other questions, quick? Yeah? You good to wind it up? All right. Thank you very much. We'll proceed with the memberships and other things, but we'll catch you all next month from Internet Land. Signing off.
Yeah.
Does the light go off?
You have some
I think it
kind of
does.
awesome graphic on that green screen, won't you?
Yeah, that's
Everything
it.
looks like you.
He really gave us didn't he? Oh, it's sweet.
It's true. I didn't realise that.
I'm stepping up.
Yeah.